Welcome back to the Grow Your Nutrition Business podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Coyne, founder of Healthy Steps Nutrition, CrossFit HSN, and HSN Mentoring, where we believe something as fundamental as nutrition shouldn't be complicated. Today, I am so excited to have Chris Cooper, the founder of TwoBrain Business, on the podcast. Chris and I have worked together since 2015, and I am thankful to call him a friend. Our philosophies align really well, and many of our mutual clients have built successful gyms implementing the TwoBrain systems and adding the nutrition platform using Healthy Steps Nutrition. In this episode, we talk all about TwoBrain Business, the newest release of the TwoBrain roadmap, and the coronavirus, and really what that means for you as a gym owner or a nutrition coach. Lastly, we talk about the Nutrition Business Live Workshop and TwoBrain Summit, one of my favorite weekends out of the year. Chris and I host a weekend event that brings gym owners from around the world together to discuss best practices and network. Imagine a room filled with gym owners eager to take their business to the next level. That is the Nutrition Business and TwoBrain Summit. Check out the link below to register. Make sure you listen for what we discuss about the coronavirus and really how you can support your clients during this crisis. Enjoy. Chris Cooper, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I'm so excited to chat with you today about all the things TwoBrain Business and everything that you guys are doing to help gym owners.
Thanks, Nicole. It's a real honor to be on your podcast now. I can't tell you, just how kind of thrilling that is to see that HSN is at this point now where, you're having your own show and I get to be a guest on it. It's cool.
Man, I remember getting on your podcast. When was that? Like 2014 or 15. And it was so fun. And gosh, you're just a plethora of knowledge. So I'm excited for people to hear more about everything that you guys are doing today. Tell me a little bit about kind of the evolution of TwoBrain. I mean, you started this company and now it's this empire. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah. So I actually started a blog back in 2008 when my gym was in trouble. And I found a mentor at the time, kind of under duress. I didn't want a mentor and I was just kind of forced into it. The gym wasn't doing well. And I finally realized I wasn't just going to figure this out. I was smart enough. I was killing myself, and I would work to the death. But I realized I have to talk to somebody who's been there before me and solve the problems that I'm having. And I kind of lucked into an amazing mentor in my home city. I thought that he was going to give me some great marketing advice, and he didn't. And so after the first meeting, I said, the way that I remember stuff best is to pretend to teach it to other people. And that's how I had studied for all my exams in school. And so I started writing a blog called don'tbuyads.com because he told me don't buy ads. And I blogged on there almost every day for about 3.5 years. And people just started to follow it, and there was no real you must do this on there. It was just here's how I screwed this up. Here's what you got to do. Anyway, around 2012, I started getting requests from people to talk one-on-one on the phone. And in those talks, people were asking for specific advice, what should I do? And I started to realize that was my responsibility to provide directive advice. And so I started mentoring gym owners around then. I published the book TwoBrain Business in 2012. And then in 2016, we launched TwoBrainBusiness.com because we knew that to provide this level of mentorship and achieve our vision of making 1 million gym owners wealthy, I needed some help. And so we had to have a common spot where we were tracking best practices, where we were accumulating data, and teaching other people how to teach the methods and the model too.
That's amazing.
So today we're the largest fitness mentoring business in the world. We have about 850 gyms in the program. About 2,000 have been through it. There's a team of 34 mentors worldwide now, and we've just built our biggest tool, which was sadly lacking for the fitness industry, but we'll talk more about that later.
Awesome. 34 mentors. I cannot even imagine that. So you have a tribe of people helping now, which is amazing. Talk to me about, what TwoBrain business just released the roadmap. You guys just released a new kind of platform to guide gym owners, and I think a struggle for a lot of gym owners is they have no idea where to start, and it's overwhelming, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what the roadmap is for, Nicole. Honestly, it's to combat overwhelm. Like entrepreneurship is cool now. CrossFit and other fitness companies have really made it easy to open a gym, but it's very, very hard to keep a gym going and to make it profitable. And especially because most of us are first time entrepreneurs when we open this gym. So what you get is like so much amazing information out there that you get overwhelmed and you get paralyzed and you're not sure, like, what should I do? What gym management software should I sign up for? What should I be paying attention to? How do I pay my coaches? And so what we've done from the start is said, we're only going to teach best practices that are supported by data.
Yep.
So the first thing that we're going to do is eliminate, the BS, the people who are clearly trying to teach the wrong information just so they can make money. And we did that. The second thing that we said is we're going to try and filter the stuff out that seems like a good idea, but isn't supported by evidence or proof. And around 2015, I was sitting in Santa Cruz with a bunch of the people from CrossFit HQ. And I said, you guys are kind of in the position where you need to do this. You've got an affiliate program. You should be tracking like what's working out there and what's not. And they said, yeah, we should. We're not going to. And I said, okay, well, then the second biggest body out there with the biggest database of knowledge is us. So it's really our responsibility. And so we started investing money in building this database and a system for tracking. And what we quickly found after I put a couple of $100,000 into this was that nobody wants to track their stuff. Nobody wants to tell me their metrics and nobody's really paying attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
We had to create a reason for them to do it. And so we built the roadmap first as a way to track gym owners' metrics and make it fun. So it feels like a game. You put in like your profit for this month and you see a graph going up and like a bell goes off and there's like a leaderboard coming. You track your expenses for this month and the same thing happens. But more than that, we said, okay, well, it's really our responsibility to be able to say, what is the goal here for fitness businesses? And so we had to define that goal the way that CrossFit defined fitness. And then we said, well, now that we've defined the goal, we can really work backward and say, like, here are the proven steps to get to that goal. And we defined the goal, we called it wealth. We worked backward to define the steps, and that's the roadmap. But we wanted to keep it like a game. So when people see the roadmap at first, they only see part of it. They see like level 1, level 2, level 3. And as they complete level 1, as they hit objectives like 5% profit or sell your first $500 package or, sell your first nutrition program, that unlocks the next level. And it feels like a game. And, so for example, when people sell their first nutrition package now, the first 50 people who reach that on the roadmap get a copy of Nourish, your book, and it's like they get a prize. So we've got this amazing game of fitness business now that encourages people to track their data. And what we can do with that data is say, this works, that doesn't. And that improves the mentorship practice that we can provide. And we think it levels up the whole industry.
I think that's the biggest thing, right? Because there's so many different ideas out there and a lot of them could work or not work. But if you have too many different ideas that you're trying to implement at one time, it's super overwhelming and then you end up doing nothing, right? And I think that's what the roadmap did a really good job, giving people specific things to work on right now in the place that they are with their business, right?
Yeah, I can give you a specific example. So coronavirus, right? Everybody is in my newsfeed this morning saying, what do we do? And the last thing that I want to do is publish, here's 10 things that you can do, but we don't know if they work, right? So what we're actually doing is talking to our gyms in Italy, in China, who are under forced closure right now. Like they're not allowed to open. And we're saying like, how are you making money? How are you continuing to bill your clients? Then we're taking that knowledge and we're saying, what have you tried that didn't work? And we're teaching it back into the TwoBrain family. So while we do publish some of this stuff publicly, 90% of it stays within the family. But we run a really tight filter on it because things are about to get a lot worse because of coronavirus, the last thing I want to do is give you an idea that turns out to be bad.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you guys post a ton of content. I think that's one big thing that I learned from you over the years is like you have to be publishing content regularly. And I think that's really how you guys built yourselves as the authority and the experts in the field, because you push so much actionable, relevant content out there through so many different platforms. I mean, how long have you guys had the TwoBrain Business podcast? That's been around forever.
Well, yeah, I mean, you were one of the first 10 guests on that show for sure. So here's a great example, right? Like CrossFit Port Orange, we're talking to them on the phone. We say everybody needs to have nutrition in their gym, or at the time we thought everybody should. I shouldn't say that we knew it for sure. Nobody had a working model. CrossFit Port Orange says, we do. Here's this girl. She's a dietitian. She just ran this thing and it worked really, really well. Here's the data. And before you know it, you and I are doing a podcast interview because it's like, we can prove this thing works. Where maybe there were other services at the time doing it. I don't know. But like none of them had data showing this benefited the gym, you know?
I think that's such a benefit of TwoBrain, right? Like, because you're really big into the numbers. Like, you want to know. I mean, you get presented with ideas from all 34 mentors plus all 600 gyms that are running the program. It's like, okay, test it out and let me see the numbers. Show me that it works, and then we'll test it out with some more gyms. I mean, I remember signing up for TwoBrain marketing when it first started, and it was the same thing, right? Like, these guys were doing amazing with TwoBrain marketing and you're like, okay, we're going to accept a small amount of people into that group. And we went through it, and then, you know, you proved that it worked. And then now you've got this whole other piece of TwoBrain, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
yeah.
really...
And honestly, sometimes it doesn't work. That's the hard part, Nicole, is like, sometimes somebody will have an amazing idea and I am all for it. I'm excited by it. I think, wow, that looks like it's going to be amazing. And then we test it, you know, and developing the discipline to actually test stuff before we talk about it has been so hard. But it's worth it because sometimes, you know, you put something through testing and it doesn't work. And sometimes, you know, a mentor will have an idea that's working at his or her gym and they'll say, this is working, let's test it. I say, yes, I'm so excited. And it doesn't work. And then you really find out, you know, is this mentor going to take that and grow from it? Or are they going to, you know, not work out in the long term? And both have happened, you know?
Yeah. I think too, you have to be super flexible with your approach, right? If I've learned anything, like something that worked well for my gym and 100 other gyms is not going to work for gyms in Australia or Italy, right? I mean,
right.
Like, you guys have a global presence now, so figuring out how to take the core principles and adapt it to different cultures is something I know I've had to learn. I'm sure you've had to learn the same thing, right?
Yeah, 100%. You know, so for example, selling group training is not going to work in China, you know, and that can't be your business model. Another great one would be like when you run a class in India, is very tough to run a co-ed class. Like you probably can't do it. So you have to be aware of like the caste system there. You have to be aware of, gender and who's doing what. You have to be aware of like what's required if you're going to run classes for men after you run a class for women. Believe it or not, there's some considerations there. And so, you know, we built TwoBrainBusiness.com because we wanted a common vault for all this stuff. And we want data and information and ideas to pass through this filter of proof. But at the end of the day, there's more ideas in there than there are anywhere else. It gets bigger every single minute.
Absolutely. I mean, I think of some of the smartest people I know in the gym industry, and they're in that group. Like everyone and I think it's not even just the caliber of people, it's everyone just so willing to help each other. And I think that's something that you started with, help first, and it just attracts people that are wanting to help each other, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's always a balance, isn't it? It's a balance between filtering and care. So, you know, if you want to look at like the TwoBrain group and how we run it and how I know the HSN group is run too, you know, first you have a filter. So people have to speak our language. They have to go through incubator or ramp up program or something like that, right? So that we're all talking the same language.
Mm-hmm.
They have to use their real name. We won't allow somebody into the group who's using a fake name unless they are actually special forces or undercover. There are a few of those. And what that gives you is it gives you this brutal transparency where nobody can BS, nobody can, try to hype up something that's not working just to save their ego. And then what that allows you to do is care openly and honestly without being guarded, without hiding your cards, because you know that everybody there is doing the exact same thing, right? There's no poker faces in that group.
And I think truly people, and this happens in both groups, right? We've been a part of
Yeah.
both groups for a long time. When someone has a struggle or a question, you have tons and tons of people there willing to help and give what worked for them to overcome that problem, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I want to go back to the roadmap for a minute because,
Sure.
Going to the ideas of there's so many different ideas out there, and you guys did a really good job kind of filtering the roadmap into founder, farmer, tinker, thief. But how do people know, like, what things to focus on first? And even people that are not using the roadmap or not in TwoBrain, like, how do you know what to focus on first?
So the first thing that you have to do, the roadmap is divided into rows that we call highways, right? So if you're looking at it as like a spreadsheet, the rows would be, here are the things that you have to do. And then the columns would be like, here are the levels of doing them. So the very first level in every row is start by systemizing what you're currently doing. So if you're not tracking metrics, that's level one in the metrics tracking row. Track your metrics, let's figure out where you are. Level two of the playbook row would be like start writing a staff playbook, that kind of thing. But there are really like 6 big themes on the roadmap. And you can think of these as like the 6 spokes on your wheel or the 6 legs on your chair, whatever you want to do. Right. So the first wheel is, or the first theme is teaching your mission and vision. It is crazy important that everybody around you, like your entire team and your staff, know what you're trying to accomplish, right? So Greg Glassman defined fitness. We defined wealth. You need to define like what it is that you're trying to give your clients. That's the mission vision part. So the next of the 6 big things that you could do is to upgrade your team, right? So you need to have a plan to ascend your team, but you also need a plan for your team to evolve with your business. So, the people that got you to this point might not be the people that get you to the next point. You might have to hire higher level people, and you might also find that some people just are not going to be part of the next phase of the journey with you. And that's okay, but you have to know how to navigate those. So the first step is that you write down all the roles and tasks in your business. That's level 1. And level 2 is that you codify how you do everything so that you're giving people the opportunity to do it the way you want it done. And then step 3 is to create an evaluation form, and you keep ascending all the way up through the point, where I am, which is you have to hire a CFO and you have to hire a chief operations officer or a GM, and you have to hire like a chief of marketing and sales. But this is, 2 to 3 years down the road. This is after you've hit $1 million in revenue, that kind of thing. And then the third thing that you can do is upgrade your operations. So, you want to achieve operational excellence. And this starts by writing down how you do everything and how you want everything done. And then eventually you go into stages 4, 5, 6, which is like optimize how things are done. So now you're comparing what you do against the best gym owners in the world. Like, how do they run a class? And then after that, you look to automate. So, how can you automate your booking and billing? How can you automate your client retention system? Is there a CRM out there that will do client follow-up emails, that kind of thing? So itemize, optimize, automate. And then, the other 3 handles are, keep your clients longer, sell more to your current clients, and get more clients. And that's, basically the 6 big spokes in your wheel, or the 6 big areas of business that you can upgrade at once.
I think so many gyms are focused on just getting more people without having the systems to get more people to be able to effectively provide the same service. And then you just end up just hiring really quick, and then not everyone's on the same page. And I think what you guys have done is really, really smart. And going back to what you were talking about with mission and vision, if you're not super, super clear, you're not going to end up it's going to be miscommunication. down the pipeline and not everyone's going to be on the same page, and then your clients are going to be confused, and then they're going to see that, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, what are we doing here? If nobody has a North Star to look at, they're all going to go in a different direction.
We see that all the time with gyms with nutrition programs, right? So, you've got coaches doing different nutrition programs. And then when the gym wants to finally launch a program, it's like, all right, we got to reel everyone back in and help them understand why this nutrition program that we are running is going to help people achieve better results, help with retention, better quality experience. At the end of the day, what is the mission of your gym, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then from there you go into strategy, right? How are we going to achieve that mission? So if our mission is to make 700 people in Sault Ste. Marie live longer, more fruitful lives, which is the mission of Catalyst Gym, well, how are we going to do that? Well, the best way that we know is through exercise and nutrition coaching. Great. How do we implement exercise? Well, our methodology is CrossFit. How do we implement nutrition coaching? Our methodology is Healthy Steps Nutrition. And then you can get from vision through the strategy layer into the tactical layer, and you can say, how are we going to sell CrossFit? How are we going to sell nutrition? And how do we sell fitness? We just follow the TwoBrain method. How do we sell nutrition? We follow the Healthy Steps Nutrition method.
And I think gym owners and people that are selling just need to feel confident that they're providing the service that is truly going to help someone. And we talk about sales all the time. You guys talk about it all the time. And if you're not confident that you're providing the solution to help your clients achieve their problem, they're not going to sign up for your facility, right?
Yeah.
Or at least get the best solution. I mean, you've been talking about the prescriptive model forever. And instead of getting someone sold on the lowest hanging fruit, the cheapest option, it's, okay, we need to present them with the option that's going to help them achieve their ultimate goal, right?
Yeah, I really feel like this is the key to success for gym owners in the next 3 years, Nicole. So you brought up a crazy important point. So if you were watching Ellen yesterday, and you probably didn't have time, but she's got Mark Wahlberg on there for the second time in a week, right? And Wahlberg has just bought shares in F45. So yesterday on the show, he's going to take one of her interns to F45 and do a workout. So what's F45? Well, it looks a lot like a CrossFit gym, but everything's red, white, and blue. Everything's branded. It's less expensive. You show up at your class time. There's big monitors around showing you, here's what you do next, and saying 3, 2, 1, go, and stuff like that. There are quote unquote coaches who are probably paid minimum wage. They're more like, like a gym attendant. It's a lot of fun. They probably get people results. But if you're a CrossFit gym and you're just selling group memberships of like 3 times a week or unlimited, F45 is going to kill you. They're doing what you do in a bright, clean, exciting gym. It looks technologically savvy. They can do it for a lot cheaper than you can because they've got a smaller footprint. They're paying their coaches like nothing. So what you have to do is zoom out and say, like, what am I actually selling here? And what you're actually selling is coaching. And we teach the prescriptive model because that levels you up to a layer above just selling like what F45 is selling. So you start with a consultation. What do you want to achieve? You measure where the person's starting from. Okay. And so put them on the InBody or do the skin fold calipers. And then you say, to achieve your goal, you're going to need exercise and nutrition. As a coach, here's what I would suggest. And then, everything from there comes straight out of the TwoBrain or the HSN playbook. And then in 3 months, you meet up with them again. Now, it's important to know, like, the gyms that are doing this really, really well, they're not going to be affected by coronavirus because the coaches are just going to call the clients in one by one and say, hey, Nicole, for your safety, we're going to cut back on your group training to once a week, but I'm going to give you specific workouts that I want you to do at home. I'm going to be talking to you every day. And I'm also going to increase my focus on your nutrition. So every single day, you're going to text me a picture of your lunch or whatever it is. You're upgrading in-person correspondence. And what we're actually seeing is like the coronavirus is a massive opportunity for gyms to launch online training and accountability programs that scale. Whenever you're faced with a big crisis like this, if you're set up with a solid system, you are going to come out better than when you went in because all the other gyms around you are going to fold. And you've got a solid base. You can afford to try new things that are going to eventually diversify your revenue, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, you can easily deliver home workouts and nutrition support not in an in-person setting. You can follow up with
That's
people and really within the app. And I think that's something that we'll end up doing is putting, so right now at HSN HQ, there's only nutrition clients in the Healthy Steps Nutrition app. And I'm talking to you, I'm thinking we'll probably just add everyone to the app and give them some sort of accountability if this ends up, affecting us down in Florida. But it's important to be able to be flexible with your approach and figure out how can you best serve your clients. And if they're not coming to the gym, the next thing, probably the first thing, should be help them with their nutrition, right? They're going to see better results with dialing in their nutrition than coming in working out for an hour.
Yeah. The key is really how you present it. So if you start with the mindset of help first and you say, what would help my client the most right now who's nervous about coronavirus? What's going to help them the most? Well, the first thing is I need to reassure them that we are the cleanest place in town. So they are going to see every bar get wiped down every time they're in the gym. We're going to do this 12 times a day. The second thing is you can say, hey, Josephine, I know that you're nervous about this. I saw your Facebook post about coronavirus and I get it. Why don't we do this? For the next month, why don't you stay home? What I'm going to do is I'm going to text you a workout every single morning. You're going to text me back with your results. I'm going to log this stuff. But I'm also going to give you a specific challenge because while you're staying home more, there's going to be a temptation to screw up your eating. So I'm going to give you the coronavirus 30-day nutrition challenge, and it's just between me and you. I think somebody probably just went out and registered coronanutritionvirus.com, but it's just between me and you, Josephine. So here's what we're going to focus on. We're going to focus on this, this one thing, maintaining your macros while you're stuck at home. We know that's tougher because the carb closet is right over there. How does that sound to you? It sounds fantastic. Great. Now, in Josephine's mind, she's actually receiving more value than she did from just attending a class. Some gyms are actually charging more for this, and it's this huge epiphany to them. But if you're not set up with solid systems in the first place, it's going to be really easy to miss this opportunity.
Yes. For HSN clients, you could just add a habit within the app and have them track, so you're not having to do as much manual work every single day texting. You could just add a custom habit within the app and then have that nutrition coach check in at the end of the week or something like that. And even like home workouts, you can make a track and sugar WOD. If a gym owner's like, I do not have the bandwidth to text every single person, make a home workout track and sugar WOD and then have people log their results and promote engagement through there, right? I mean, there's definitely ways to...
Yeah, you're right. Some people are sending mass emails and to all their clients and saying here's our workout for today. That's fine. I think what has to happen there is you really have to ramp up engagement. You have to maintain a conversation so that people still perceive value.
I was reading Alyssa Rose from Rocket CrossFit. I don't know if you know her. She's a friend of ours, but I was reading a post that she said today, and she's going to be doing some stuff through Zoom. So some live, get creative, guys. I think at the end of the day, as a gym owner, going back to what you were talking about with F45, I think a similar situation happened with Orange Theory. When you're pumping 30 to 40 people in a class, they're not selling coaching, they're selling a workout, a good sweat, right? We have to know the personal touch is the most important part of our business, and we're in the relationship business, and you just have to make people feel heard and understood and provide the best service that you can, right?
Yeah, I think the gyms that can do that are actually going to come through this crisis the strongest of any gym. Just like me when I was resisting getting a mentor, we don't do things when they're important. We do things when they're urgent. And this, whether this coronavirus thing is a real urgency or if it's just kind of the tail wagging the dog, it doesn't matter. You have to do something. Strong gyms with good systems and good one-on-one relationships and good retention habits, they're going to come out of this probably with a new revenue stream and fewer competitors.
You're right. You're 100% right. Chris, anything else you want to talk about regarding the roadmap and helping gym owners. I think you kind of nailed it on the head earlier when we first talked about the roadmap and breaking it up and where gyms should start. Really looking at what gets you out of bed and making sure that you have that clear mission and vision and conveying it to your staff so that everyone's on the same page. I mean, that's at the very core of what you guys are talking about with the roadmap. I mean, that's where gyms need to start.
Yeah. And I did get a great question yesterday from a gym owner who's been around for 10 years. He's being forced out of his location. He's got 5,400 square feet. And he said, what would you do if you had to start from scratch? Now, the thing to note is like this guy has a big gym, 5,400 square feet. He's not making any money. So he can't afford a small increase in rent. So this is a great guy, right? Like we in the global fitness and health movement, we need this guy. He's got to survive. He's changing lives and we need him in the army. However, his exercise model is, perfect. It's effective. It's changing lives. His business model is non-existent. It's flawed. So if I were starting from scratch, I think what I would probably do is actually start with a nutrition coaching business. You and I have said this before, like I would have a nutrition coaching business in the front and I'd have a squat rack in my back parking lot. I would start with the smallest possible footprint. I would try to engage people online first to drive revenue. And then if I wanted bricks and mortar facility, I would look at that more as my test lab or where I bring clients once or twice a week to interact with their peers to build community instead of like, this is the only thing that matters,
People need nutrition coaching help more than they even realize. And by offering individual nutrition coaching services, your clients are actually going to see better results and they're going to be happier, right? I think you're right. That's technically how we started back in 2012.
Exactly. We've got people in TwoBrain right now who we gave that advice to, right? Start with nutrition coaching, get some online clients, get the tiniest possible viable space to meet people one-on-one. And they never actually reach that step. One guy to me, he's like, okay, I've got nutrition coaching clients. I'm giving them like programming to do at home or they take it to the Globo gym. I'm netting $5,000 a month. I think the next step for me is to open a gym. And I said, hang on, Mark. Think about this for a minute. Like, how big are you going to have to grow your gym to net the same amount of money, right? Like to give you $5,000, even under our model, the gym's going to have to make $15,000 and you're going to have to control costs and staff and all that other stuff. Or you can just get like 3 more clients,
Yeah.
And so some gyms aren't even taking that step now. And then you've got these other guys who are actually taking a step backward, downsizing their bricks and mortar because they want to, shrink their biggest expense before they can go forward again and grow the right way. So there's a lot there too.
You just got to be super flexible with your approach. I mean, I remember starting and I rented a space out of another gym, and things that I've told dietitians that we work with or nutrition coaches is, hey, rent a space. There's tons of office spaces that you can rent for the day or the hour where you're not having to commit to a year-long lease that might be a little bit more expensive per hour. But if you book clients back to back, it's super effective. I mean, the laws with nutrition coaching are super strict. And with HSN, we don't have people do virtual nutrition coaching because you could get in a lot of legal trouble if you're not a dietitian and you don't have the right, structure behind your program. You could easily fall out of scope. So you could rent a space for a day and have the rest of it done virtually, but you're actually meeting with clients individually to do assessment. So again, just be flexible with your approach for sure. Crystal, before we get off the podcast, I want to talk about one awesome event that you started. I remember going up in Sault Ste. Marie. Gosh, and we were it was a conference room, I would imagine, or that huge space that you had. But you had 30 gym owners at most at that point that came to the space, and we talked, and it was just such an inspiring event that has now turned into hundreds of gym owners in Chicago every single year. I want to talk about it. What can people expect from the TwoBrain Summit? We butt up an event to that on Friday, the Nutrition Business Live Workshop. But what can people expect from the TwoBrain Summit?
So we have a couple of ballrooms in Rosemont. It's a beautiful area. What we started doing around 2017 was actually running two stages at once. So one is the owner side, one is the coach's side. And we'll have about 600 people there this year. It'll definitely sell out. It's more than half sold out already. We bring in some speakers from outside. So Chris Voss, author of Never Split the Difference, will be presenting for an hour and a half on Saturday morning at the summit this year. And then what we do is we pick out the most popular topics that gym owners want to know about, and we put like the number one expert up on stage. So these experts are TwoBrain mentors, or sometimes they're from outside. They pitch, and their pitches, get put into like a top 20, and then TwoBrain clients vote on, what topic do they want to hear. So it's very audience centric. Mm-hmm. My pitch did not get selected this year. So on the owner's side, I'll be giving an intro. I'll be doing a Q&A with Chris Voss, but that's it. And then on the coach's side, we have topics that are more specific to coaching. Some of them are business related, like how to make a great career doing personal training. HSN will be there this year again. And, but there are some coaching specific things too, like how to use, the alter ego effect with your clients. That's the topic that I got selected for this year on the coaches side. And then we have about 30 vendors, who will be there too, to talk about stuff that will help, people in their gym also. It's definitely very cautiously curated. We don't just throw the doors open to vendors. We're very careful about what the topics are. We make sure they're going to be relevant. It's an amazing location. And the big secret that a couple of gym owners have let me in on is that they bring coaches because that's what pays for the trip. Well, if I can teach my coaches to sell better, or retain clients better, or add a nutrition program or add a kids program, that more than pays for all of us to go to the summit. And that's what the top people are telling me. So
I feel like it definitely has been more and more coaches that come every single year from, when we first met in Canada to the first year at Brian Alexander's gym, CrossFit Illumin, and now it's so many coaches, which is amazing because we brought our GM last year or 2 years ago, and all the HSN mentors go too, but it's just when they see you investing in them, they're so fired up when they go home, right?
I think that's the key. I mean, I brought a couple of coaches from Catalyst last year, and I mean, as soon as they got home, they did like $2,100 in sales just from stuff that they had learned at the summit. So I mean, it's an amazing ROI, and the best part is they're really grateful that you take them there.
Exactly. And it's just a really cool time to connect with other gym owners. I think that was the feedback that I had last year from the Nutrition Business Live workshop is, you're around really smart people that are doing things really, really well. And there's so much noise on the internet and in Facebook groups and, so many different ways that you're being pulled in different directions, and going and talking, you can really nail down what do I actually need to do now to level up my business and kind of map out your next year, right?
Yeah, and also feel the support.
Yes,
of people. That's huge. To make in-person contact, to hug the people that are going through the same struggles that you are, and to meet the people who are where you want to be. There's nothing that can replace that. You and I are both in mentorship groups for that exact reason. And we provide mentorship to others because we know how powerful it is. But
knowing that you have a support team there every step of the way, and that you can connect with gym owners year after year is so fun. Well, I'm excited about the TwoBrain Summit. I'm excited about the live workshop. We'll sell out of our event, which is Friday. You guys have yours starting on Saturday, and it's a full day packed, 2 days for you guys, packed event. Lindsay and I are talking about habit-based coaching and providing a world-class experience. So I'm excited to be speaking on the coach's side this year, which I haven't been able to do before. So thank you for having us.
Me too.
Having us to be a part of the event this year.
Oh yeah, I'm thrilled. I mean, people really need to hear the HSN message, and it just becomes more relevant all the time. Last year, they needed to hear it because they were scared about Orange Theory. this year they need to hear it because it's more important than ever to understand like what our service actually is and why that doesn't depend on brick and mortar anymore.
Absolutely. Chris, thank you for coming on the podcast. Is there anything else that you'd like to say as we wrap up?
No, that's great. I mean, I hope everybody gets an HSN shirt like I've got. And yeah, thank you.
If you are thinking, I need help in my business, the process to learn more about TwoBrain Business starts with a free call. Check out the link to book a free call and talk to one of the TwoBrain mentors. A couple more things about the live event that Chris and I host. The registration for the Nutrition Business Live Workshop and the TwoBrain Business Summit is separate, so you want to make sure to buy both of those tickets. I've gotten a lot of questions recently about the layout of the workshop. The layout is this. There are subject matter expert presentations, and then you break up into small groups led by a mentor to discuss how to apply those principles to where you are at in your business right now. And of course, networking with fellow gym owners. The theme for this year for the Nutrition Business Live Workshop is all about action. If you are like me, going to these events is like drinking from a fire hose. There are so many different ideas, and sometimes you aren't sure what you need to implement first. The HSN mentoring team will be there to help guide you and tell you what best next step you need to take and what is the best opportunity for you to grow your business. You do not want to miss the Nutrition Business Live Workshop and the TwoBrain Summit. Registration is already 50% full, so get your tickets today and click the link below.